Hey everybody, welcome to the Market Mondays with TRADEway. Market Mondays, glad to be back on with you guys as always. We have an exciting session for you today. If you haven't been following along in the series, I highly recommend that you go back and you watch the previous broadcasts that are in this series. What we're doing is we're taking time every Monday to come on here, speak to you guys, and help equip you. And this is something I'm going to talk about a lot today, helping equip you to feel confident, feel prepared. A lot of the times, the difference between where we're at if we're in an unknowing or an even anxious state and being in a confident state is simply just a little bit of learning. Just a little bit of learning, and that's what we're attempting to accomplish right here on these Market Mondays, is to give you some information. You can come on, you can join us and see this is who we are here at TRADEway. It is our goal, it is my goal to help you today and on those previous sessions to understand we just went through the fastest bear market crash in history. It had never fallen that far that fast, just like that. So when we use the word that I'm sure you've been hearing many, many times over the last 3 or 4 months, unprecedented in terms of the stock market, we are serious. It is serious, and it has been some serious movement. It's been an unprecedented drop. We're also going to look here a little further on in the broadcast. It's been an unprecedented recovery. And that's a little bit of what we want to talk about today. So in these unprecedented times, we want you to feel like you know what's going to happen. But here's what's interesting about that word unprecedented, right? Now it has a precedent, right? Something that had never happened quite this way before has happened. And I know for many of us, we're feeling like, how do I feel more prepared? Geez, I sure don't want to go through that again. I've heard this from a lot of people already as well. Maybe you can relate. Wow, my account went way down. I took a big hit, but it's recovered. Hopefully, it's at or at least close to where it was before, right? It was a very quick drop. And all things considered, it's been a pretty quick recovery. Now, we're not back up to where we started. We're not all the way back up yet, but we've come pretty far. We have come pretty far. And that's another part of what we're seeing that's unprecedented, at least so far. So you may say, what happens if this happens again? And that's what today is really about. What now? What are some steps that I want to take, or I should know how to take, after we've seen this kind of a recovery? And I would just say off the bat, one of the steps is something that I know a lot of you folks out there have already been taking. And that goes back to what I just said. You have been educating yourself. What just happened? Having met hundreds, even thousands of students around the country doing this, I can say that it is very common, and certainly this was true of me as a student as well, that we think we should just know things just because. But that's not ever how it works, is it? Unless somebody shows you, then you're just not going to know. And when it comes to money, when it comes to our finances, when it comes to investments, when it comes to the stock market, our retirement accounts, or whatever it may be connected to, that is our investments, we need to learn more to feel confident. And so I can say that those of you who've been joining us, you already understand that. You have been coming on here going, I need to learn more. I want to learn more. We've gone over multiple topics already of how to protect your money in a crash, how to even potentially make money during a crash. For most people, when the stock market crashes, it would be a plus, and we talked about this, for them to know when and know how to get onto the sidelines. Okay? We talked in fact, we talked at length about how there is a prevalent belief that you shouldn't and can't safely move money to the sidelines without missing out. And of course, we don't believe that at TRADEway. And if you did not see that session, I'd highly recommend that you go back and watch it, because you can safely step to the sidelines. But that's where most of this message for most sources ends. Okay, you can save some money, but what about when to get back in, and potentially even what can you do to make money when the market is going down? Okay, so we talked about that as well. Having said those are more looking back. Now we're at a spot where we're looking forward. So what could you do? What now? What steps can you take after, or even, I would say still, it's fair to say during a market recovery? Now, one quick housekeeping thing. I normally say this right off the bat, and I didn't. I love comments. I love questions. I love it when you say hello. Let me know who you are. Let me know where you're from. Let me know if you've seen the other sessions, if you've missed the other sessions. I like answering questions. We had some great questions last week on our Monday broadcast, on our Wednesday broadcast. We also are here on Wednesdays as well. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Today, we're going to fixate specifically on the markets. That's why we call it Market Monday. So go ahead, post a comment in there. Let me know anything you want to let me know. Ask me questions throughout the course. I may even post your question right here on the broadcast, and I will go ahead and answer that for you. That is a huge part of this. I want to make sure that you're getting the information that is connecting to you, and ultimately, as I said already, empowering you to feel confident. So that is a big part of it. Get that out of the way for sure. So here's the first thing I want to say today, guys. So if you've been watching us on here at any length, if you've been following TRADEway, then you know we are investment advisors. What does that mean? We advise for investing. I mean, it's as obvious as it sounds. That's what we do. That's who we are. We are an investment company. We are SEC registered. We are fixating on the world of finance to help you get breakthrough. Okay, help you get breakthrough in that area of your life. But if you followed, as I said, TRADEway for any length of time, you'll also know it's not just about finance. For me, I've said this before, I used to manage in the office. TRADEway has always been about the 3 F's for me. I've never said it quite like that before, but that's really what it is. Okay, Michael, I see you there watching live from Pearland, Texas. Welcome, welcome. Thank you, Texans. The 3 F's, finance, that's the obvious one. Okay, but it's also family. This is a family company. Now, I'm not part of the Mitchell family. That's the founders of this company. But I can tell you, having lived there, near them, and become close friends with many, with all of them really, that they treat others like family, and that is a huge core value. So that's a big one as well. But faith, okay, finance, family, faith is a huge part of who they are. It's certainly a huge part of who I am, and that's how our paths crossed, and we've come to this point. Why do I say all that? Well, because when I look at where we're at, remember I said we're in a recovery. What now? We're looking forward, okay? We're looking forward. I posted something online yesterday. Imagine yourself driving in a car, and I said simply this: the rear view mirror is for adjusting. The rear view mirror is for adjusting, but the windshield is for everything else. The windshield is for getting where you're going. So if we spend too much time looking in the rear view, then we're not going to safely and securely get to where we're going. Now, we wouldn't do that in a car, would we? No, it seems natural. But I think in different parts of life, sometimes we spend too much time looking back. Today, we're not looking back. Today, we're looking forward. Where do we go from here? What do we do from here? Because we're at where we're at. Well, that faith piece, I think, comes into play because I look at this market recovery. In fact, you know what? I'm going to just show it to you guys real quick. I wasn't going to do this quite yet because we're going to come back to it. So here you can see it. Now I'm zoomed in quite a bit. So on this left side, you can see this drop. This drop is faster time frame than this recovery. But you know, we are so darn close. 33.85 is the high here, approximately, okay? And we got up to 32.26, not today, but back here. So pretty high. So here's what I want to say. First thing, I just want to give thanks. When I was preparing for this today, I just thought, you know what? First thing, I want to give thanks, because this thing has been hard for everybody in some way, and for most in multiple ways. But we could be looking at a much more dire situation. We are not totally out of the woods yet. I understand that. But it is definitely, even just in terms of our investments, what I said at the beginning, you probably saw a big cut. And much of that, hopefully, has bounced back for you. And certainly here, looking at the SPX or the S&P 500, we've seen a lot of that bounce back. So I just want to say, first thing, looking forward, I'm thankful for it recovering. I'm thankful for the things we were able to do in this country to help keep the economy moving. And of course, those are things we're continuing to do, continuing to look at. But where we are right now, I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for folks who have let me know that, geez, Blair, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I've seen some things come back, and now I'm really interested in being more educated, because I want to know that if that ever happens again, I know what to do. I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for the lessons that so many of our students learned during this time. And you know what? I'll say this, guys, and if you've been following TRADEway, then you've heard us say this, okay? Our students know this drop created, I'm going to go back to that word, unprecedented. It created unprecedented opportunities. It really did. Stocks got incredibly cheap. By and large, many great stocks got incredibly cheap, incredibly fast because of that drop. And one of the things I wrote in an article last week for our students was specifically how, you know, most of us, when there's a drop, there's a lot of fear and negativity in the air. Fear causes you to focus on the negative things. But for the trader, drops in the stock market are the resets, okay? We're going to talk about retracements, corrections, and bear market here in a minute. But they're the drops we need to see stocks come to prices that we want to buy at. Now, I'm not just saying because the stock drops, we go out and buy it. But we do need to see stocks come down, and they came down significantly and created some really great opportunities for a lot of people. So that was a good thing to see in the midst of it. And that's something that we were able to see in the midst of it. So I'm thankful that they were there. I'm thankful that we were able to see those. We're able to talk about those. That is a big blessing. So you can see how far we've gone. 2188. Now the high that we've recently reached, 32.26. So that is a big deal. Definitely wanted to highlight that. Number one, first thing, definitely thankful for that. Okay. So where do we go from here? Okay. The second thing I would say is that we've got to manage risk in the event of another sell-off. Now, when I say sell-off, I just mentioned a moment ago 3 terms: retracement, correction, and bear market. Okay. Retracement, corrections, and bear market. So I'm going to give you a preview into this today specifically. Now, we'll go ahead and just actually pull that chart back up, because I think it'll be easiest for us to just see. So when you see this stock, which is really, this is the S&P 500. Now, I want you guys to understand something, okay? When stocks drop, and I said this, okay, I'll say it a little different, but when stocks drop, that's normal. We've got to get to a place where we understand that stocks dropping are normal. I have people who, they know that I work with TRADEway and I work with you guys to help with investments, and that I'm personally trading in my own life, and they maybe have not learned much about it yet. So they'll ask, if they ever see the market drop at all, they'll ask, oh, Blair, what's going on with the market? Or, you know, and there's anxiety, right? There's anxiety because it's just an unknowing. They just don't know what's going to happen. And this idea that stocks going down in any way at any time is got to be bad. Why? Because you lose money when stocks go down. Well, that's a doorway into a bigger conversation. But the point I'm making today is that we don't have to be anxious when stocks go down if we understand what's happening. If we understand what's happening, because the truth is that in the markets, by and large, most traders, Wall Street itself, they want the market to go up. They do want it to go up. And who are the ones who make it go up? Well, Wall Street does, because they're the ones who buy the stocks. We buy the stocks, they buy the stocks, it goes up. So being anxious whenever it moves down is something that we want to be free from. And I want you to be free from that when you consider, whoa, we just had this unprecedented drop. What's going to happen in the future? Well, I'm just going to tell you right now, okay, I think this will be helpful. The wounds of a friend are faithful, right? But an enemy multiplies kisses. They just say what needs to be said. Well, the truth is we're going to have another bear market. You say, well, right now, soon? No, I'm not saying that. I'm not making predictions about that at all, okay? In fact, the way things look right now, I don't see that being likely in the near term unless the coronavirus gets significantly worse again and things have to close down. But we've seen so much from the Fed that is willing to prop up the market, a lot of willingness in Wall Street to continue to invest and buy stocks on that hope. So I'm not saying that, but I am saying that you will, and those of us out there who've been investing for a long time, bear markets come and go. It is a economic reset. Okay. Now we've gone into that more extensively in previous broadcasts. So I'm not going to go through a lot of what a bear market is and navigating that, because that's really what we've done so far in this series. But a bear market is whenever the market goes 20% or more down from the high, okay? The high of stocks down 20% or more, that's a bear market. That means the bears, those who sell, are in control. They have driven the price down 20% or more. That's a bear market. Those are not common, right? We don't see those often, but those are definitely going to happen again, okay? This idea that they should never happen is actually a fallacy, because economics, it just works basically in that we expand and we contract, and we're going to see that in the stock market. And as I mentioned earlier, that's something that we can navigate well, and it can create incredible opportunities. So we don't actually need to be afraid of that. That is a bear market. But what about a correction? Now, a correction is when it drops from the high, and it's not 20%, but it's 10% from the high, okay? 10% from the high. So a stock goes up, makes a high, and drops down, but does so 10%, maybe more than 10%, but not 20, okay? So that's significant. It's significant, but it's not a crash. It doesn't mean the bull market is dead, right? It's just a more significant correction, and we'll see those, on average every 3 or 4 months when there's strong trading, meaning it's uptrending, the stocks are moving up and the bull market is healthy. We'll see that correction. Okay, so you might want to ask yourself during these times, what if I see the stock market going down, what is really happening? Are we in a bear market? Is there a correction, or is there what is called a retracement? So this is not even 10% now. A retracement, not even 10%. So you can see the S&P here is in a pattern. It's in an uptrend. This is something we teach you in our program, but it's going up and it's hitting this top line, which we call resistance, and it's dropping back down to the support line, back up to the resistance line, back down to the support line. Whenever it comes back down to the support line, that's simply a retracement. It's simply retracing. It's moving through the pattern. Now the pattern will change eventually. It will break above it, or it will break down below it into that correction territory. But until that happens, it's just in the pattern. It's just retracing. So you could ask yourself that as well. Is this just a retracement? Is that what we're seeing here? What's the point of all this? Well, the point of all this is that, as I said in the beginning, if I learn more, then I have more confidence. I just understand what's happening, but I understand what's not happening. And I don't have to be anxious about the unknown. If it's just retracing back down, then there's no need for me to be nervous about that, because I understand that that's just a normal thing. So from here on out, I want to ask myself those questions. If I see stocks going down, if I'm making decisions about, well, what's going on with my investments? What should I be doing with my investments? I'm going to ask those questions, because I'm going to have different answers depending on what's happening. And again, our previous sessions in this series, we've already talked about bear markets. So if we find ourselves in another bear market, it'd be good to go back and refresh yourself on that material, okay? Here's another thing that's unprecedented about this, which is part of why I wanted to make sure we did this session. You know, usually we saw this drop in the markets. It went down, but now it's going up in a V. Okay, we call this a V recovery because of the shape of its recovery. It dropped sharp and it's going up sharp. Now, you remember on the chart, it was a little bit slower on the way up than it was on the way down, which is normal. Fear and selling usually are more extreme in speed than buying. Incidentally, fear is a stronger emotion than greed when it comes to investing and trading. That's just a proven thing that we've seen over time. But it is a V recovery. Now, this would be the first actual V recovery in stock market history, meaning that it didn't go down, recover partway, and then go all the way back down and retest that same low, okay? That has always happened. So far, we are not seeing that occur. I showed you on the chart just how close we are to being back at the all-time highs that we were at before all of this began. So we could, if it follows suit of what has happened in history, we could see a retest of those lows. We would want to know what to do if that happens. Again, that goes back to our previous sessions, but also just asking myself those three questions. Are we looking at a bear market? Because we're no longer in bear market territory. We're no longer 20% down, okay? We're no longer in bear market territory. So we'd ask ourselves, are we in a bear market? Is this a retracement? Or excuse me, is this a correction, 10%, or is this a retracement? I think that could bring a lot of clarity and peace to some folks just asking the right questions. There's a different measure of intensity depending on the answer to those questions. And we've said this a few times, just knowing which questions to ask can really help lower that anxiety that's possibly there. You know, I was thinking about, like, when you go and you get into your car and you're going to drive somewhere, are you really nervous every time you do that? No, for the most part, you're not. Why? Because you've been through it multiple times, right? You have knowledge, you understand. You maybe were when you first started, but you've done it so many times now. There's a knowledge, there's a familiarity, there's a trust, there's an expectancy that you have because of your exposure to it, that for most of us, it's just second nature. We navigate it. What we want to do is we want to help you move more towards that with your finances and investments than the anxiety that typically grips most, I would say, investors when it comes to the idea of retracements, bear markets, and corrections, okay? That's the idea. And, you know, I say that because it is actually possible to achieve that. It is actually possible to achieve that level of peace when it comes to what's happening in your money, which I think some people might achieve that just because they're disconnected from it. This is a way where you're actually engaged. You're engaged, you're empowered to make good decisions with it, but those emotions also don't take over. And I think that is an amazing combo to have, okay? So I want to show you something really quick. I think this will be helpful too. I keep talking about feeling empowered. So let me just show you something else here. As we go forward, remember, we are looking forward now. We're not just looking back on the bear market that we just came out of. Let's take a look at this stock. Now, I'm not making any recommendations on this stock. I'm not saying that the stock is at a point at which this would be a stock that you would purchase. In fact, I would not purchase this stock today, okay? So I'll just say that first loud and clear. I would not purchase this stock today. So this is in no way a recommendation from me. But I do want to show you a tool, okay, and give you a kind of a preview of a tool of what we do. Because as we go forward from here, we're not just looking at the defensive, which we've looked at in previous sessions on our Market Monday broadcast, but we're looking at the offensive. We're looking at the offensive, and that's a huge part of what we do at TRADEway. You know, you win the game really playing both, and that is what we do at TRADEway. Well, let me just show you a quick thing. We look at this chart. Now, I'm sure folks out there, the first thing you're noticing is, well, this chart just sure looks like it's going up. And that's right, it is going up, because just a short time ago it was at $30 and now it's at $104. This is part of what I mean when I say it's created some incredible opportunities for us, okay? And we're quite a ways into that now, but this is where we're going, right? We're moving forward. So what if I just went ahead and did something like this? Just drop that in there really quick. Go ahead and grab this guy and drop that in there like that really quick. I've got the screen stretched out quite a bit. Okay. In about 10 seconds, I've taken this chart, which, like I said, I'm sure most of you noticed, it's moving up. Okay, if that's something you noticed, then you have a skill already that you're just going to need to find great stocks. So this is something that I can, in 10 seconds, come in, drop a few lines because I have skills that tell me where to put those lines, and I can drop it in on the chart. In fact, I've got a second layer of lines on this chart that help me feel even better about where I put those lines to tell me where I might buy and sell a stock, okay? So going forward, once again, not only does knowing help me emotionally, but if I'm going to go on the offensive and go, you know what, I also want to look for opportunities out there, or I've got investments and I need to know, how do I find out whether my stock is retracing, whether it's in a correction, whether it's in a bear market, okay? How do I really know how to measure those? Well, this is a helpful way. You want to come in, know how to use a chart, and specifically say, is this stock, is this chart, whatever it might be, whether it's this one or not, is this something that I can come in and look at and I understand how to put lines, how to look over this particular stock and assess what's happening in it. Because all I want to do is be able to come in and educate myself and know what I need to do from there, okay? That's really all I'm doing on this chart. And I'm using a very simple skill set that we teach you how to do. Now, for those of you also who are saying, well, I want to continue to look at my long-term investments, but geez, if we're stepping into a new bull market after this massive reset in Corona, there's voices in the news. Of course, we don't know how this is going to play out, but voices in the news saying 2021 is going to be an extraordinary economic time. We'll see. There are a lot of factors that play into that, but we'd want to be ready for opportunities that come no matter what. This is one of the ways to do that. Looking forward, do I understand how to find a good stock? Do I know what makes a good stock? Do I know when I can buy and sell that particular stock? And do I understand the difference between just investing, buying, and holding something for a long time, and actually going in and being able to get into the stock and get out of the stock, get into the stock and get out of the stock on a shorter time frame, something like what we're looking at here on this chart. Okay, that is an incredible skill set to have, and that is what we teach at TRADEway. So moving forward, I would say it is a good thing to gain that experience, gain that knowledge, so that you can continue to see the opportunities. Because what I hope you've seen over the course of this series so far is, if you've not heard some of these things, which I'm sure many of the things I've covered, a lot of us have never heard before. Wow, there are ways that I can defend the stocks, yes, but defend the positions or the investments that I'm in my retirement account, or whatever account that it is. Not everybody's doing it in a retirement account, but many of, if not most of us are. But I can defend those if the market crashes. That's huge to be able to know how to do that. But I can also know when a good time to get back in is. Okay? How can I learn how to do that? So I'm not just stepping aside and having the fear of, well, am I going to miss out on when this thing starts moving back up like it did? We talked about that. But then even beyond that, I have the ability to learn a skill set that helps me to potentially be profitable during the bear market when it goes down. Or if we do see the stock market now reverse and retest the lows, which it could happen. I mentioned that has always been the case in previous bear markets. Then you have a skill set that could potentially make money during that second move down. And you still have an understanding of how to protect your money. See, even that alone is a game changer, okay? That's a game changer right there. But also, do I understand that when we come into a fresh new bull market, there are incredible opportunities there? Yes, I can buy and hold stocks, but there's also a potential to take some of my money and trade stocks as well. Momentum makes for the easiest trading. Why? Because we want reliable, predictable, repeatable patterns and stocks. The movements they do them over and over and over. Sounds simple enough, right? If a stock just continues to do the same thing over and over, that makes it easier on us as traders. It's just a fact. Well, when we're in a hot new bull market, that's what tends to happen. Now, even before Corona, we were in a pretty hot bull market, so that was a great time as well. We've just had that kind of economic steam, if I can put it that way. But that's what we want to look at going forward, okay? We don't want opportunity cost to take over because we just didn't know what to do, okay? So ultimately, that's something that I want you to do. Like I said, with the car, you learn to do it, you learn to be confident, and you're able to get where you want to go faster. And I just want you to think about empowering yourself the same way financially. Education is empowerment. It gives us the ability to look at uncertainty, which we're never certain about what's going to happen in the markets. There's no way, it doesn't matter who tells you this. I'm going to tell you right now, there is no way for anybody out there to tell you with certainty what's going to happen in the market. So if our source of peace financially is certainty about what's going to happen to our investments, we will most certainly be anxious, because there is no way to know totally. That's not the path to peace, and that's not what we teach at TRADEway, because we know that that's not possible. The path to peace is understanding the risks and what's actually happening so that you can implement the right things at the right times to protect yourself. That's the way that it works, okay? So we want to give you that kind of confidence. Adjust this here. Yeah, we want to give you that kind of confidence. We want you to understand how to have that. If that sounds like a good thing to you, then one thing I'll just add really quickly. Jeffrey, I see you there, Colorado. Jeffrey, I speak to Jeffrey on a regular basis. He's pretty involved in our program. So hello to you, Jeffrey. Michael England. I thought at first it said Michael from England. So I'm assuming you're not from England, Michael England. Welcome. What's up to you too, sir? Great example of rolling stock. Oh, okay. I will pull that up in just a second here. I want to show you guys something really quick. One of the things we have one more of these. We have one more this summer. Starts June 22nd. You can see this at the top. If this stuff is intriguing to you, if you've got something out of this series and this session, this is the next step for you. Okay, this is the Trade in 30 Days Challenge. So you're going to get bite-sized chunks of exactly what I'm teaching you, but we're actually going to let you in the doors. We're going to bring you inside the program and show you TRADEway's foundational approach to investing and trading in stocks. This is TRADEway's Trade in 30 Days Challenge, because by the end of 30 days, we're going to teach you the entire foundation to our system. Okay? We are going to comprehensively teach you, because you're going to get access to our classes. You're going to get access to our coaches, live sessions that are exclusively just for you and other classmates, workbooks, quizzes, all kinds of stuff. In 30 days, you're going to have everything set up that you need to have set up to be able to trade. The charts we were just looking at, how do I actually place a trade? How do I know what to do? All of that stuff we're going to cover. Starts June 22nd. But you can register through the 23rd. So we're very, very close. We're looking at June 22nd, right there on the calendar, okay? So you can still register. I am going to post this link, okay? I'm going to go, once I get off the broadcast, for some reason it does not let me post while we broadcast. $97. $97 as an investment for a 30-day course to completely change the way you think, feel, and see the stock market, finances, what you're able to do, and even, as I've said many times now, defending what you are doing, okay? $97. So you can look over this. Again, I will post this link. We're going to go through everything I've talked about and more, plus you're going to get access to coaches like never before, and I think it's an amazing deal for you guys to be a part of that. So if you're hungry, Jeffrey, I can see that there. I took the 30-day challenge in January. It is worth it. That's part of how I got to know Jeffrey. Jeffrey started through joining us on the 30-day challenge. So that gives you a couple of things, guys, and then I'll close up. It gives you more access to us at TRADEway. It is $97. It's low risk. You can come in and see, what are these people really all about? What does their program really teach? And what we're going to get you to in that point, or from A to Z, from 0 to 30 days in that 30-day challenge, is get you to a point where you go, I understand what this system is, and I believe that I can do this. That is my goal. That is our goal through that time. Because there's no reason why you can't be somebody who does this and does it well. Okay? So I see Michael, he also took it in April. Thank you. That's great. That's great. That's great. There are a lot of people signing up for these every time. You've got one more day to sign up for this specific challenge. So we're going to get you to a point where you go, I can do this. Because somebody out there today is thinking, you know what, this information is great, and that idea of having that kind of peace and confidence and taking advantage of opportunities. How many people out there, I'm wondering, feel anxiety? I talked about how you might feel anxiety when it's going down, but how many people get anxiety when they see that it's going up? People get anxiety when they see that it's going up. Why? Because they feel like they're missing out. Now, I have no desire to stoke the flame in your life of FOMO, the fear of missing out. I don't like that. I don't like FOMO. FOMO is the enemy for a trader, right? But I don't want you to actually miss out. And sometimes we go, we sink a little bit because we think there's an opportunity there, but I can't do it. And the only disconnect is that we just haven't shown you how to take advantage of it yet, how to safely take advantage of it with a 30-day program where you have people that are available on the Facebook page every single day who are going to help answer your questions and walk you through the process. That is worth it. At the end of that, if you go, well, this isn't, trading's just not for me, you're going to learn a ton. You're going to be blessed by our staff. You're going to be supported the whole way, and you're going to be more financially powerful than you were when you went into the course. Okay, so we really believe in that. I think it's great. You've heard from a couple of the guys on the broadcast today who took the challenge and enjoyed it. So it is definitely the way to go. Again, I will post that on there. So this has been our Market Mondays. Where are we going from here in the stock market? Unprecedented drop, unprecedented recovery. I've definitely enjoyed being able to cover this material with you guys. I think for those who take it seriously, there's a lot here that you can get that, frankly, and this is no judgment, because I was one of these people, but most people don't know what we've covered in this series. Most people don't know that. Some do, but most don't. It's very useful information. So if you take it, if you sow it in the ground, if you water it, it can serve you. 30-day challenge is the next step in that process. So I will be in the challenge myself. I would love to see you there. If you have any questions, then go ahead and drop those in the comments section, and I will go ahead and answer those if you have any questions regarding the 30-day challenge in and of itself. I will also answer those. So I always go over there and I check those after. Michael, I see your comment. I'm going to go ahead and close out the broadcast, as I said, and then I can jump on there and I can answer your question and definitely help you with that. And I think that'll help a lot of folks as well that are have access to those watch lists too. So, okay, that said, I'll drop that link in there. Thank you guys for joining. We will be back on Wednesday, Wisdom Wednesdays. We do it at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Every Wednesday, we're going to be going over a different topic. Right now, we're doing our Keys to Breakthrough series. It is connected to trading, but it's breakthrough for any area of your life. This is biblical, time-tested strategies for creating momentum and breakthrough in your life. So we've been covering that. Now we're going to continue on with that series, and I am definitely looking for it. Thank you to you as well, Jeffrey, and the rest of you guys out there. Thank you for joining, sticking around, and I hope it blessed you. We thank the Lord for this recovery once again. I thank God for you, honestly, because we wouldn't be here without you guys. You guys are amazing, and that is why we're here, is to help you guys get where you want to go. So definitely hoping rather that this has served that for you today. Okay, next time, see you there. Bye, guys.